The attorneys for Lakers legend Jerry West have demanded a retraction, an apology, and unspecified damages from the producers of the HBO series Winning Time, based upon the portrayal of Jerry West in this show. This dispute demonstrates the limits of disclaimers and also, along with other recent defamation cases, serves as one of several cautionary tales to producers of biopics and docudramas. Hi, James Pacitti, entertainment attorney and production counsel in Los Angeles. Like many TV series and films based on true stories, the HBO series Winning Time, which is adapted from the book by Jeff Pearlman, and chronicles the rise of the Los Angeles Lakers dynasty in the 1980s. It provides a disclaimer that reads, "This series is a dramatization of certain facts and events. Some of the names have been changed, and some of the events and characters have been fictionalized, modified, or composited for dramatic purposes." Such disclaimers are intended to convey to viewers that some parts, what they see will be true, while other parts are not entirely true, and other parts are completely fictional. However, with the lines between truth and fiction getting increasingly blurred in biopics and docudramas, how does an audience distinguish from what is true, what is kind of true, and what is completely false? Jerry West's attorneys are claiming that viewers of the show now believe him to be an out-of-control, intoxicated rage-aholic, amongst other accusations, and demand an apology, a retraction, and unspecified damages. They claim that the portrayal of Jerry West is false and defamatory. First, just because a TV or film program or a project has a disclaimer, it doesn't mean that those depicted cannot be defamed. They absolutely can. Much like you can still be disrespectful to someone even if you preface your comments by saying, "with all due respect." The first issue is whether or not the disclaimer served its intended purpose. Recent case law does not bode well for the producers of Winning Time. A judge in California recently dismissed a lawsuit that was filed by chess champion Nona Gaprindashvili, who claimed to have been defamed in the Netflix drama Queen's Gambit, based on one line in the last episode made by a commentator, which was, "The only unusual thing about her really is her sex. And even that's not unique in Russia. There's Nona Gaprindashvili, but she's the world champion and has never faced men." Now, there were two things wrong with that statement that she included in her complaint: that she never faced men and that she was Russian, as she is actually Georgian. The judge concluded that Nona is likely to prevail on her defamation claim, despite the disclaimer provided in the show, in each episode of the show, because the line resembled a factual detail that was included for believability, and the judge concluded that Netflix acted with reckless disregard for the truth by including it. Particularly troubling on the point in Winning Time is a scene in which it features the late Jerry Buss, who breaks the fourth wall, looks directly at the camera, and says, "Jerry West, head coach of the Lakers, considered a true gentleman of the sport by those who do not know him." Producers are going to have a tough time showing that this line was not meant for the audience to believe that the show is depicting the real Jerry West. Like the line about Nona Gaprindashvili being Russian and not playing men resonated as factual. However, another important aspect for producers to understand that since Jerry West is considered a public figure, It is a much higher threshold to prove defamation than if the portrayal was about someone not considered a public figure. Public figures have to prove that the allegedly defamatory statements were made with the intent to harm, knowing that was said or portrayed was false. Donald Trump, Sarah Palin, and others have learned recently that due to the application of this high standard, their defamation claims could not stand and their claims were dismissed as a result. However, the Jerry West case may be an exception, as a portrayal has been attacked as inaccurate by people from the executive assistant for Jerry Buss for over 20 years to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And also, this portrayal was not included in Jeff Pearlman's book. However, HBO has responded and has claimed that the depictions in the series are based on extensive factual research and they stand by their creative producers. The point of all this for independent producers is when you are portraying or even just referencing living persons, standard disclaimers do not prevent lawsuits or liability. If it is a famous person, the standard is higher than that being essentially a complete disregard of the truth. If it's not a famous person, then it is a lower standard. To avoid such accusations, producers will often add composite characteristics to a character, like changing the name, identifying features, etc. So the viewers wouldn't be misled into believing that the character was the true portrayal of an actual person. If you have any questions or if you have a project you wish to discuss, don't hesitate to contact us.